So that happened. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brandon. Welcome back to Murata Media. I just want to get that out of the way real quick. So the Academy Awards happened last night. It's Monday at the time I'm filming this. And a lot happened. And there's just a bunch of stuff that I really wanted to talk about because it was quite a wild ceremony. So I'm just going to go over some things that I liked that happened, some things I didn't like, and that one moment. You all know what I'm talking about. And because I don't want to end on a somber note, let's start with the things about the ceremony that I did not quite like. The first being the Academy's experiment to cut 8 of the awards from the live broadcast. And what happened here is that the Academy chose to not air 8 of the categories on the live feed. They instead decided to pre-record them and then edit down the presentations, as well as the speeches from the winners. So some of the categories that they cut were the short film categories, as well as best original score for some reason. And cutting that category was a huge shame because Hans Zimmer was the winner, as everybody knew he would be for his score in Dune. And the fact that Hans Zimmer won his second Oscar and his first in nearly 30 years since The Lion King, and we did not get to see it live, is an absolute travesty. Granted, he wasn't at the actual ceremony, but I feel if the Oscars actually, decided to show these categories live on air, then he probably would have done a speech via Zoom or something. But I can't really give the Academy that much flack because apparently this was not their idea. It was due to pressure from ABC to cut these categories. And they did this to cut the runtime of the show, but that didn't work out at all either, because this broadcast ran a whopping 3 hours and 42 minutes. That's nearly 30 minutes longer than last year's ceremony. And last year's Oscar ceremony showed every award live. So I hope the Oscars and ABC learn from this experiment and never try to do this again, because like I said, it just did not work. And not only that, but it minimizes other categories and tells those filmmakers that we don't quite value your work as much as these other people, and that's just not right. Something else that I didn't quite like were the hosts. And I don't know, personally I think that the ceremonies of the last few years where there was not a host were really good. And if you're gonna have a host, then I think you need to choose someone who is passionate about filmmaking. Because these 3 ladies, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall, they don't really seem like they wanted to be there, or were they really passionate about the films that were nominated. I mean, they made a joke at one point about how The Power of the Dog was really long and slow. If I remember correctly, I'll try to find footage of it, but if I can't, the joke was something about how Wanda Sykes has watched The Power of the Dog 3 times and she's only halfway through it. I don't mind the bits that they do, but you're there to celebrate these movies. Don't joke about how they're long and boring and how you didn't watch them. There were a few other jokes that didn't quite sit well with me. There was another moment where Regina Hall pulls out this disc out of her pocket or something, and she says it's a film that's never been seen before. Then she proceeds to say that the film is called The Last Duel. Now, I discussed this in a few videos in the past. The Last Duel, a movie that came out last year, directed by Ridley Scott, it was an absolute flop at the box office. Yes, no one really went to go see it, so I understand what they're going for. However, The Last Duel was such a phenomenal film, and it's already disrespected enough. I mean, there's no need to disrespect it any more than it already has been. I might be looking too much into it because I really liked that movie, but there's just no need for things like that. But that's just me. But the whole 3 hosts thing just really didn't work out because a lot of the bits they did, specifically one where Wanda Sykes goes to the Academy Museum, just dragged on. When you include things like that, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you can include that added nothing to the show, but you can cut 8 categories of these hardworking filmmakers? Really? And on top of that, something else that they included was a rendition of We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto. The whole thing was really strange, especially when you take into account the fact that We Don't Talk About Bruno was not nominated for Best Original Song. It really felt like they were just trying to reach out to a younger generation by playing something that is really popular and they know they're listening to. But that also just felt very disrespectful. You have time to sing a song that's not even being nominated over actual nominated, hardworking filmmakers. Like, are you serious? Now, this next thing isn't really something that I'm mad about, but this Oscar ceremony was one of the most predictable ones that I can remember. There really weren't any surprises. I honestly think that the biggest surprise award of the night went to Best Animated Short Film, which was The Windshield Wiper. No one really had that winning. I believe the favorite was Robin Robin. And funnily enough, The Windshield Wiper is the only nominee of the Best Animated Short category that I actually watched. And just to give a quick review of it, I thought it was fine. It was so beautifully animated, but the message of it really just felt like a Facebook post that your grandparents would share with the caption, "This is so true." I don't know, it just felt very out of touch, and I thought it was fine. It wasn't Oscar worthy, I don't think, at least. But yeah, there weren't really any other surprises of the night. Everybody who was predicted to win basically won. But something I will say that surprised me was the fact that The Power of the Dog led all movies with 12 nominations, and it only won one award all night. And the only award it won was Jane Campion for Best Director, which, like I said, everybody saw coming, making her only the third woman to ever win the Academy Award for Best Director, behind Catherine Bigelow and Chloe Zhao just from last year. But has that ever happened? Has a movie ever been nominated for that many Oscars and it only ended up winning one? Like, seriously, has it? I'm genuinely curious. I should probably research this myself, but if someone else already knows, then please let me know. And let alone the only win of the night being Best Director. I'm willing to bet that's never happened. But I'm not mad at the things that won. Dune, which was my favorite movie of the year, won the most Oscars of the night with 6. Best Sound, Editing, Production Design, Cinematography, Score, and Visual Effects. I'm really happy that movie got the recognition it deserves, because from a technical standpoint, it was phenomenal. I'm also pretty happy with all the Best Acting winners. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story absolutely deserved it. And honestly, I got a little bit choked up watching Troy Kotsur win, and his speech was fantastic. Jessica Chastain won Best Actress for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which really didn't come as a surprise. In my initial predictions, I guessed that Kristen Stewart would win it, mostly just because I wanted her to. That was my favorite performance of the actress nominees, but I think she had the longest shot to win it, so it didn't really come as a surprise that it was Chastain. And she did really good in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, but I don't know, that movie just didn't really resonate with me. I didn't care for it, truthfully. And then there was Will Smith winning Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. Did not come as a surprise at all. Don't worry, I'll talk about it. But honestly, I really did love his speech. It was just the timing of the whole thing. It just seemed very wrong. And I know a lot of people weren't happy with the screenplay winners. Best Original Screenplay went to Belfast. Best Adapted Screenplay went to Coda. I predicted Belfast, but there was some belief that Licorice Pizza could have won. If it did, I wouldn't have cared because I love that movie. But Coda did come as a little bit of a surprise because my initial choice was The Power of the Dog, but lately, with the surge that Coda got, it's not a surprise that it won. And then there was the big award of the night, Best Picture, and it went to Coda. A few months ago, I would have said the Best Picture frontrunner was Belfast, and then up until about a month ago, I was saying it was The Power of the Dog, and like I mentioned in my rankings video, I'm not really surprised that Coda won. It just made a surge lately. And I also mentioned in that video that if Coda won, I would be very happy for it, but it would also make me very, very nervous. Because now that Coda is officially the latest winner for Best Picture, I'm very scared of its reputation going forward, because Coda is now forever immortalized as Best Picture, the best movie that was released that year. It was one of my personal favorite movies of the year. I believe it was number 8. And I'm sure there were a lot of other people that had it as their favorite movie of the year, and that's perfectly okay. What worries me is that a lot of people who just did not care for Coda will forever see it as one of the worst Best Picture winners ever. Right up there with Green Book, Crash, The King's Speech, Shakespeare in Love. Because all those movies won over other movies that nearly everybody saw as far superior and more deserving. But it did make me incredibly happy to see the cast and crew of Coda go up on stage and accept the honor for Best Picture, because, like I said, dude, that movie, it's not offensive in any way. It's not trying to make any sort of statement. It was just a story that was so simple, but everybody who was a part of it was clearly so passionate about it. And it's cliche, but isn't that what filmmaking is all about? Making something that you're truly passionate about? Oh, and how could I forget this? That horrendous film Don't Look Up didn't win anything, just like I predicted it wouldn't. Well, I mean, everybody predicted it, but it's official now. And that makes me happy because that movie didn't even deserve to be nominated at all. The only nominations that movie deserved was Razzies. Also, shout out to LeBron James for winning big at the Razzies the other night, taking home the honor for Worst Actor. Good job, dude. Okay, I think I've said just about everything that I wanted to say up until this point, so let's talk about that moment that will be talked about for years to come. Just like most people, I thought that this moment was a bit of some kind. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of was half paying attention at the time, and I thought he just came on stage and gave him a little shove or something, and it was very playful. But then when the sound went out, at least on the American feed, if you want to find other feeds specifically from Australia or Japan, you can find the uncensored versions. They're all over the internet now, believe me, you can find them. But when the sound cut out and I saw Will Smith screaming at Chris Rock about something, because you couldn't hear what he was saying, but you could perfectly read his lips, I was sitting there thinking, I don't think that was staged. And after hearing the tone of Will Smith's voice, I really, really don't believe that it was staged. I think the whole thing was genuine.
Keep my wife's
G.I. Jane のジョークだったんです。
fucking mouth!
Now, I know a lot of people may think that it was staged, but the past few years, I feel like the Oscars have tried to manufacture these viral moments, but there's no way that they manufactured that. I believe that whole exchange was 100% legit. But I gotta give props to Chris Rock for standing there and taking it like a man. I mean, he just stood there after getting slapped in front of millions of people and then proceeded to continue on like nothing happened. I mean, yeah, the energy was weird, but the fact that he handled it that way, that's super professional, and I gotta tip my cap to him. But the joke in question was Chris Rock saying that he's excited to see Jada Pinkett in G.I. Jane 2. And if you're not familiar with G.I. Jane, here's the poster for it, and I'm pretty sure you can connect the dots from there. And the joke is making fun of Jada Pinkett Smith's condition. I believe it's called alopecia, which is a condition that causes people to lose their hair. And the whole exchange was very peculiar to me because after the joke was made, Will Smith is clearly seen laughing about it, but Jada Pinkett Smith didn't really take too kindly to it. But it cuts away from them, so it's almost as if Will Smith is laughing, he looks over at Jada, sees that she's not thrilled, and then proceeds to go on stage and slap Chris Rock in the face. It was so weird, and believe me, it got everybody talking, because I talked to several people about this. One of my best friends actually called me and asked me what the hell was going on. But my immediate first thought was, wow, okay, so Will Smith is not okay with people making jokes about his wife, but he's perfectly okay with his wife sleeping with other men? That may be a little over the line, but it's true. I mean, it is true. And another thought I had was, Will Smith is definitely going to win the Oscar for Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. That whole exchange is going to make his acceptance speech just that much more awkward. And like I said earlier, I thought his speech was very good. It was just the timing of all of it. He talked about how love makes you do crazy things and how he and Richard Williams are very similar because they both want to protect their family. And then I think he called himself a vessel of love at one point. Like, dude, like, that's great. Like, really, it was a good speech if you take out what just happened. You just slapped a man on national fucking television, dude, and you're standing up there calling yourself a vessel of love. Seriously? But at the time of recording this video, Will Smith has apologized, and I mean, that's really all you can do at this point, man. Chris Rock has refused to press charges against him, and I really think that's the right thing to do because I don't think that what happened was grounds for an arrest, but that's just me. But that's really all that they can do at this point. Just apologize, acknowledge what you did was wrong, and move on with your life. Seriously, that's the best thing that you can do. So yeah, all in all, it was a pretty wild, messy night. I really hope that next year the Oscars learn from what happened last night and try to correct it. Don't cut those categories, just show them. If you want to save time, then just don't do these stupid, unnecessary bits with hosts who are clearly not that excited about being there. So yeah, guys, those were my thoughts on the Oscar ceremony last night. If you guys watched it, then let me know what you thought about it. If you guys like this video, then be sure to hit that thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see my ranking of the Best Picture nominees, as well as my initial predictions, then I'll link those right over here. Other than that, hope you all have a tremendous rest of your day. I'll see you all next time.